Today I wanted to tell you about how God can open doors that no man can open, and He can shut doors that no man can shut. God just brought me a miracle today, and I was so stunned and shocked that I just cried tears of joy, because when I wrote my book, that the Lord gave me all these revelations about Him for the last days, which I've talked about many times on here, and so many of you have written me telling me how awesome my book is. But I have something to tell you about it that I didn't even know until today, and today was very significant to me. January 21st of 2018, which was today, 2 years ago, the very last full day I spent with my mom in our home before she called the fire department in the morning at 7 a.m. and left to go back to the hospital where she died 5 days later. So this is the week that she passed away, on the 27th of January. And to me it's extremely profound that what just happened today happened, because, well, you'll see in a minute that, I had talked about in my book, I'm going to show you, this is the Shroud of Turin. This is the 3D image. This is called a lenticular, and it's a 3D image of the face of the Shroud of Turin, which is Jesus' burial shroud, that has this amazing image imprinted on it. And actually, this is the positive image, but on the linen cloth it's a negative image. So it's kind of like an old negative that becomes a positive photograph once you take pictures of it with your camera. But Dr. Petrasuns gave this to me as a gift. He gave me a set of these, actually, and this is the largest one. So I have been talking to this older gentleman who befriended me at a production club that I was part of over the summer. And he just kind of kept writing and telling me different things about what was going on with the cameras and all of this and the equipment and everything. So just yesterday, and of course he has written a book as well, and so we kind of clicked about those two things. But he has an ancestor that was an 18-year-old woman that was the artist sculptor chosen to. She sculpted Lincoln, and that marble statue is in the Rotunda in Washington, D.C., along with many of her other sculptures in marble that she did of different presidents and different famous people. And she was quite the prodigy in her time. So anyway, we clicked about our books and everything, and we've been talking about them. So last night, his name is Glenn, he sent me a link to something called WorldCat. I think it was .org. But anyway, he told me it was a world catalog that every single book that's ever been published is listed in it. So when he sent this to me today, I thought, just for fun, just for kicks, I'd type in my book title. And anyway, this is my book, and I've shown it in just about every single video, because that's kind of how I'm getting people to see it. Since it's not in stores, you have to order it, and it's print on demand. And so it's, because it's not in stores, it doesn't sell thousands of copies because people don't see it if they don't know about it. But I want to get it. It is starting to be worldwide, and it's sold in England, where people can print it and have it sent to European countries from England. But it's called The Almond Tree, Aaron's Rod, the Messiah, King of Israel. So Glenn sends me this link, and I typed in my book title on the link of the World Catalog, and I was totally shocked, so much so that I just cried tears of joy right then and there, Because when I wrote the book, the Lord gave it to me in Revelation so that the Jewish people in particular would understand it. And it's kind of written from a Jewish viewpoint or Jewish state of mind, I guess you would say. So I'm going to show you the pages that I found when I typed in my title in the World Catalog. It came up all right. It came up that there's a copy of my book in the Harvard University Library in Massachusetts. On the back of my book, it says, "And there is the white dove that landed in our yard at my mom's house and stayed for 2 days, and she flew up on the peak of the roof. And then these are double rainbows that were over our house at very monumental occasions." And there's just so much I want to talk about. And people have said, why don't you read some of your book on here? Well, I have done that in past videos. It's been a while since I've done that, but what I'm trying to do is I'm looking into maybe trying to do a documentary or a film. And you might be praying for that. And I'm trying to raise money in my fund. So just the fact that Jewish people put my book about their Messiah in that library is an incredible, incredible gift from God today. And I just hope you'll see that God is working behind the scenes, even though we didn't even know He was doing something. So the book is in the Harvard Library. If you are there and you want to go check it out and find it, let me know. Let me know. It's called The Almond Tree, Aaron's Rod, the Messiah, King of Israel. And it shows the Ark of the Covenant on the front cover. And it talks about the Davidic dynasty returning, which is about to come. And we are ready for our King, aren't we? Isn't this the most amazing image? Now, we're not to bow down to this image, I'm going to tell you that. It's just given to us to remember the crucifixion and the resurrection, the gospel of good news. And that because He died and was raised on the third day, if we believe in Him and believe He's redeemed us by His blood, the blood of the Lamb of God, who takes away the sins of the world, then we'll be saved. And call upon the name of the Lord. And I just hope that every Jewish person in the world will read this with open eyes and ears and they're blessed by it. Because, Messiah Yeshua is so for the Jewish people and His own people. He wants them to come to Him and He loves them dearly. So I just pray you'll be blessed by this miracle today, because I definitely was. It's a miracle of biblical proportions, I tell you that much, because I had nothing to do with putting it there at Harvard. And that is a world-class, world-renowned university where all the scholars go. And I hope some of the scholars will go get it out of the library and start reading it and spread the good news about it. That's my prayer, and that Jewish people will find it there and want to read it and be blessed immensely by reading it. And I also want to say that I worked with some very prestigious people for my book. I, first of all, worked with Dr. Petrasuns, who created the shroud image in 3D. He's the one that gave me the lenticulars. I worked with shroud photographer Barry M. Schwartz with the shroud photos that he gave me. I worked with Emeritus Professor Dr. Avinom Danan, the foremost expert on botany in Israel and the surrounding Middle East region, who passed away during Hanukkah. After he gave me the last photos from my book, he passed away. But he is the one who, along with Dr. Wanger and his wife, discovered and identified some of the plant species on the Shroud of Turin. And I worked with him through the internet. I actually gave him seeds from another plant that he was analyzing through the microscope. It was pretty amazing that he found these teeny tiny seeds, and there were heart shapes on them when he put them under the microscope, and just showing God's design. And I worked with the people at Magdala, the excavation people at the Dinosaur Museum with the Jesus boat. I worked with Jim and Penny Caldwell through email. They gave me the Mount Sinai Burnt Peak and Split Rock of Horeb pictures. And their story and my story came together, giving an end-time testimony and witness. And what else? Even the people at the Magdala synagogue realized that when God was giving me revelations about Mary Magdalene that I put in my book, without my knowledge at the same time, they were discovering her synagogue and unearthing it. But it was revealed, I think, in 2009, and I had started my book in 2007. So I had worked on it for 3 years and was just having revelations about Mary, and here's her synagogue unearthed. So all the timing of it was profound. The fact that my first revelation came in 2007. Seven's God's number. Took me 7 years to complete the book. It was published on 5/5/15, which I'd never have made happen with all the thousands of hours and work I put into it, and placing each photograph and then having to redo it and do it all again to condense the book, even though it's super duper thick now. But it was way thicker than it is. And I had to replace every picture and photograph I took. So much work and effort went into it. And to me, it's just kind of like God's little award to say it's at Harvard in the library, from Jewish people putting it there. From my first miracle that started the book, that when God woke me up at 4 a.m. and gave me this incredible revelation, I wrote it down. Electricity was flowing through me, and he told me to send it to Jerusalem immediately. I did, and a miracle came back, verifying it from Holy Mount Moriah. And from there, it just, miracle after miracle after miracle happened, and revelations that have never been seen. And I know some people have told me they were halfway through the book and they thought it was just incredible and awesome. So I just hope you realize that this is just one of those miracles that only God could make happen. So I wanted to share it. And I'm thanking the Lord today for how He's just blessed me. Thanks for watching. This book is a work of art, and every little detail went into it because I did it for the King of Kings. The reason why the book is got these colors, it's got the blue and it's got purple. The purple is right here on the binding, here with the lions, with the Torah, and scarlet is the main color, because those are the priestly colors of the high priest garment, and he is our high priest. And gold, it's got the gold of the Ark of the Covenant and the gold lions with the Torah on the side, and the book title in gold, and the writing in gold. So, our high priest and king, may he be glorified, and may many people go get that book and read it, and just be blessed beyond measure, because the whole world is going to be full of the knowledge of God, and nobody will have to explain him anymore. They will all understand who he is. And that's what this testimony is all about. Shalom, and be blessed. Thanks for watching. So let me show you what happened when I clicked on Glenn's link to the World Catalog. Here is my book. The Almond Tree, Aaron's Rod, the Messiah, King of Israel, a message of revelation to my heart, from the word of the God of Israel regarding the identity of the Messiah, the Davidic dynasty returns. Kimberly K. Ballard, published by Olive Press Publisher, Lowville, New York, 2015. And I was so overjoyed that it was a Jewish fund that had seen my book as a Judaica publication for Jewish people to read, because it's written from a Jewish mindset about the Jewish Messiah. And I had prayed that God would open the doors that no man could open and shut the doors that no man could shut. And God put my book here by a miracle. I did not put it there. It was this fund of Jewish people from the late 1920s to 1932. Their fund is what acquired my book and put it in the Harvard University Library. This is like having an award stamped on your book. And this is something that only God could do, and I just want to give him the praise today. And it happens to be the very last day I spent with my mother, the whole day at our home. And she left in the morning at 7 a.m. and never came home again, and died 5 days later. But this happened on the very last day we spent together, that this gentleman sent me this link to the World Catalog, and just for fun I happened to look my book title up and was shocked to find it at Harvard. I had wanted to originally maybe publish my book at Oxford University Press, but then I found Olive Press Publisher, so it's just a little Messianic Christian publisher in upstate New York, and that's what God opened the door for. But here's my book at one of the most prestigious universities in the world, and only God could make that happen. So I just want to give him the praise and honor right now. So when you're scrolling down and it gives the number of my book, it actually says that my book was acquired by the Leon I. and Louise S. Gubin Judaica Book Fund. That has their little crest there of Harvard. Thank you, Harvard. I've been wearing a shirt with your name on it for quite a few years now, and now I know that it was God ordained. And my friend Jay just told me that her ancestors, one of the people who founded Harvard. Another miracle connection.